Okay, so first things first. I'm gonna say this. I'm sure you guys already know, but HBO Max. I got some developer friends. Like, we can help you out. Like, what is going on? Why is this app not accessible? Like this is crazy. But that's neither here nor there. So welcome back to my channel. My name is Chrissy, if you didn't already know, aka Chrissy Universe. And I typically post beauty, entertainment, lifestyle content. And today we're going to do some of the entertainment portion. And as you can tell by the title, I've been watching The Sweet Life Los Angeles. Is Issa Rae's unscripted television show that is on HBO or HBO Max. I don't know if it's on the regular HBO app, but it's definitely on HBO Max. And it's basically like your typical following these successful or up and coming successful black millennials. I guess they're millennials. And just kind of seeing how they navigate their way through life, I'll say. For starters, this show kind of, when I saw the trailer, it definitely gave me like more of a, watch us become successful or whatever. But we got a little bit of that, but we did get a lot more drama. And since it is a unscripted show, I'll put it in the reality bin. Since it is a reality show, of course we're going to get into more of the relationships and friendship stuff. But they kind of introduced like everybody's own little businesses or whatever they're trying to do. So yeah, I'm going to start by going in with the cast. I'll take it one by one, just to kind of give my opinion. I'll try not to spoil too much, but if you watch it, you watch it. If you don't, you don't. And, it's cool. But to start off, we have Ty Lynn. This is my girl. I believe she is the main-ish character of this show. I believe she was on an episode of Insecure. But just as a side role. It wasn't anything like that. But yes, Ty Lynn, she is a young, beautiful chocolate. Okay, I'm gonna stop referring to dark-skinned people as food. I've been reading up on that. I'm gonna stop doing that. But she is a beautiful dark-skinned girl or young lady, and she runs a event planning business. You see her do that throughout the show, which I really like, because she pretty much plans all the events for the cast to come to. And then she also got this really big job working with one of the other cast members on a event for his record label. I think that's what it is. And you kind of see her and her boyfriend kind of come together, and you see how they kind of work together, which is really nice. And it's really cool to see a dark-skinned lead on these kind of shows, with the exception of The Real Housewives of Atlanta. I think this is the only one where I see like a dark-skinned woman actually leading a reality show, as like narrating, and the events are kind of centered around her. I think that's really great, because that's something new. And of course with Issa Rae, she's very intentional about how her characters are portrayed in her shows and what representation she set for the cast. And so yeah, it was great. But I love her. She is really cool, pretty level-headed out of like most of the people in the group. I don't know if she's the oldest, but she definitely gives off a very like motherly vibe. Or like the caretaker. You can tell that she's very much the caretaker of the group and kind of keeps everybody in line as far as like, you know, checking in and making sure they're reaching their goals and stuff like that. And I think that that's a really great quality to have, especially when you have a big group of friends as this. Someone that kind of helps hold everyone accountable for the things that they said that they're going to do. So, which is great. The next character is these are not characters, these are real people. But the next person is Gerald. There's not really much to him, to be honest. We see him kind of like, I don't want to say he rides the background a lot, but he's definitely just kind of like mousy, if you can say that. But he definitely feels like a pushover. There was a scene towards the end of the show, or towards the end of the series. Is it 8? I think it's 9 episodes. For some reason, this website says there's 10, so I'll check back with that. But yeah, but there was a situation on his show. He's a content creator, as far as what they showed on the show. So he has a podcast where he wants men to kind of come together and basically talk about their feelings, which is really good because I don't see a lot of that when it comes to male-led podcasts, to be honest. Like, they don't that's another conversation for another day. But which was really good, but it turned into a whole big thing because Tylen's boyfriend and Jordan, which is the next person that I'm gonna go into, kind of got into a little altercation, and he didn't step in and like regulate. And I'm like, if that's your show, make your show. Like, there's no way that anybody was gonna come up in my space and they're hollering at each other. Like, it's crazy. But yeah, Gerald, he's very L7 square. I'll give him that. His girlfriend Cheryl is also in the show, and she is a fashion designer. Has a fashion line called, is her last name I didn't realize, called Des V's. And their whole thing was wanting to move in together. Like, they've been together for 8 years at that point, and she wanted to take the next step, which is interesting to me because, like, if we've been together for 8 years, wouldn't the next step be marriage? Not moving in together, but you know, things. I feel like can discuss it at one point, but I feel like, you know, relationship standards are changing for sure, because more people are moving in together first, then getting married, versus the other way around. And granted, I can't talk because I did the same thing. It didn't quite work out, but hey, it is what it is. But I just think that's interesting because this show feels very catered to the Gen X. I forgot what the next, not Gen X, Gen Z. What's the generation names? I don't know, but it felt like it was very much catered to the younger generation, because of just how the show is shot. It felt like if I was 16 or in like high school, maybe like early college, I would definitely be more into the show. I like the show for one, but I think I would be more moved by the show because of, like, it'll be like, oh, this is what your 20s could look like. That whole situation. So but yeah, I think that's just really, this is just something that I just noticed. But she wants to move in, and he was very much like, I'm comfortable at my parents' house because I'm saving money. I can just go over to her spot, chill for 4 or 5 days, and then go home. And she was just like, I need more, but it wasn't really like a dramatic thing, like how most shows kind of turn that into, or can turn it into. It was just like, like we should take the next step. And then eventually they ended up moving in together. Granted, when he said that they were moving in together, he did not look happy about it. He looked very much like, yeah, we're gonna we moving in together. And everybody was just like, what? Oh my gosh. And he was just kind of like, what? But I guess, it just might be his personality. He feels a little bit low key, but he definitely doesn't have that like alpha personality, which she doesn't really have like a, she's kind of quiet too. I mean, she has a alter ego called C Nasty, and it's just like, not really much. It's just you shaking your ass, and that's cool too. The next person I'm going to talk about is Jordan. Jordan Bentley is the rich kid of the group for sure. Like he has this clothing line called Hypeland, I believe, which I will give him credit. Maybe it was his mom's idea or his marketing team or what, but literally every scene of the show, someone had a Hypeland sweatshirt or a shirt or outfit on. Great marketing. Love it. Don't really care for your clothes, because it's just not my style. But either way, I think that was pretty genius for on their end. But Jordan, I cannot think of her name. If I can think of her name, I'm gonna put it on here. But Jordan was like kind of slick in a love triangle because he was messing with Brianna, but Brianna's friend, the one who I can't think of her name, was also messed with Jordan at some point, and apparently she liked him, but it didn't really go anywhere. Brianna's I'll talk about her in a minute, but she is the new girl. Basically she's newish to LA at this point. Still trying to find her footing. She has a job that she doesn't really like, but she wants to figure out what exactly she wants to do as far as like creating a legacy. They very much, especially in the first couple episodes, emphasize like we're creating a legacy about excellence and blah blah blah. And anyway, so Jordan is, like I said, he's well off. His mom helped invest in his company and it's pretty successful. Like he was skateboarding through a warehouse, which is pretty big. Like nobody I know has a warehouse for their clothing line yet, so I guess it's doing really well. And he was kind of in a love triangle with Brianna and her friend because she messed with him first, and then Brianna ended up, when she moved here, she ended up liking him or whatever, which kind of took up a good bit of the show. I want to say about 2-ish, maybe 3 episodes. A 3-episode arc, if you will, because they found out and then they were trying to figure out like who said what and who did this and why are they messing with each other and all that stuff. So yeah, Jordan is pretty interesting because there was a point in he was the one who got into an argument with Tylen's boyfriend. And the whole thing was about basically Jordan being privileged. Well, the initial conversation turned out to be like, as a man, it feels like all we are is just cash cows. And it's hard for us to be emotional and all this stuff. And then they got into like basically trying to, the whole legacy thing. I guess that's where I was going with that. The whole legacy thing. And so he got triggered because Tylen's boyfriend called him privileged, and he ended up blowing the whole thing out of proportion. Like it became a shouting match essentially because he felt like him being called privileged negated everything that his mom has sacrificed for him, sacrificed to put them in a position to where she can help him, you know, start his business. But the sacrifices are the reason why you're privileged. Like, his mom had to break it down to him, like, yo, you are privileged. Nobody's mom can come up with, not nobody, I'm sure there's plenty of parents who are able to do that, but not everybody's mom can come up with, like, you know, 50,000 or however much she put up for his business and be able to just start a business that's successful. Like, although he, you know, he may not have needed money, but he, you know, he was basically like, I went through a lot, you know, my parents, you know, my dad wasn't emotionally available for me, and that was kind of hurtful and stuff like that. But like, what Tylen's boyfriend, I'm sorry, I'm calling him Tylen's boyfriend, but what Tylen's boyfriend was trying to say was like, hey, we all go through our struggles, but we all have our privileges too. It may not all be financial. A lot of it is ableist, you know, being able to not have a disability, you're able to do things on your own. Like, privilege is not just financial, although a lot of times we talk about it in reference to finances or, you know, race, gender, or whatever. But yeah, it was an interesting conversation. It could have been an interesting conversation if he hadn't taken it left. But, you know, people being their feelings. The next person I want to talk about is Brianna. She is slick. She was the firecracker. She was the feisty one of the group. Like, she was very much like, I'm gonna tell it how it is. Because she's from Kalamazoo, Missouri, not Missouri. Wherever Kalamazoo is, she was like, I ain't trying to go back there. So, but she was great. However, he didn't like, I guess she was the only one that was still trying to figure out what exactly she wanted to do in life. Because she was like, oh, I got a degree in psychology and I'm not using it. And then she was also expressed that she was insecure about, you know, like, not having, quote unquote, not having anything going on for herself. Because but I think that's just interesting because, like, even though she's working and providing for herself, somehow she still doesn't have anything going on. Like, I found that to be super, super interesting. In general, tend to put a lot on, like, being productive, you know, productivity. How are you able to, you know, work to put out as much stuff, you know, content, clothes, you know, butters, whatever. What does that look like? You know, what does productivity mean to you? And to me, it's just like, even if she wanted to just work and like her job and wanted to move up the ranks and, you know, become successful in that way, I don't think that should negate what she's, you know, her value. You know, like, it felt like Jordan wanted, because the person that he ended up dating after her was like an OnlyFans and Instagram model. And he was like, yeah, she got a lot going on and blah, blah, blah. And I'm just like, yeah, but the other girl had a lot going on. She has some good stuff going on too. Like, she's a beautiful girl. She's working. She's smart. She was very interesting. I thought she was really funny. Like, but he was so concerned about, like, I guess trying to do this whole power couple. I think in his mind, he just wanted this whole power couple look, which is, you know, cool if that's what you're going for. But I don't think that, you know, making her feel insecure about that, you know, I don't know. It just made me feel weird. I just kind of looked at him a little funny because I was just like, what are you looking for in a partner? That's what I wanted to ask Jordan. Like, what exactly are you looking for in a partner? Because, you know, it is what it is. Next person I'm going to talk about is Amanda. I like Amanda. I wish they gave her more, because she was basically just Tylen's sidekick. We didn't really see her in scenes by herself. I mean, she did have a scene where she was, she opened up her real estate office. She's a real estate agent, and I think a PR person. But she opened up her real estate office. She had like a whole little, business warming party, I guess that's what you want to call it, or that's what I'll call it. But like, other than that, we didn't really get much out of her other than like some funny one-liners. So I think, you know, if she comes back next season, they should give her a little bit more. And they had the whole, it's interesting because I'll save it for the end. The last person I'm gonna talk about is PJ Compton. He is an up and coming, I don't know if he's a rapper or a producer, but either way, he works in the music industry. He was also in that Love Square, I guess, because he was the one that actually, you know, was pursuing Brianna's friend. I still cannot remember her name. Sorry. But PJ was such a nice guy. He has like an interesting story because you can tell like he doesn't come from money, because, you know, he had the hoopty or whatever, and I feel like he felt like he had a lot to prove in the group because they went away for Amanda's birthday and he rented a McLaren on somebody else's birthday. Now, if you know anything about women and their birthdays, do not mess with women on their birthdays. Don't be messing up their birthdays. Like, it was a whole thing. And I'm sorry, my nails are like super chipped. But we move. But yeah, so but he's cool though. I think he has, I don't know. He has an interesting story that I think that can be delved into. You saw him interacting with his mom, which was really great. She was interesting. She was cool, but she was interesting. Yeah. There was a scene where him and Brianna's friend, I'm so bad at this. Him and Brianna's friend, they were dating or messing around with or whatever. And so like while they were away, you know, every reality show they always take a group trip somewhere. So in this show they took a trip to Mexico. And so while they're on a yacht, he decides to like end things with Brianna's friend. And then gonna go back to his boys and be like, hey y'all, I'm single. I can't do this no more. I feel like I got a weight lifted off my chest. And I'm like, bro, she's like 30 feet away, bro. Like, what are you doing? And then you're trapped on this boat with him. I would have died. I would have died if that was me. Because like, what? Like, I would have I would have jumped off that boat so fucking fast. Like, it was interesting. I felt like that was just a time and place for everything, but that wasn't it. That wasn't it at all. But yeah, I think that they did overall the show was really interesting, but like I said, I don't think that it was catered to my age group per se. It was definitely catered to a lot of younger kids, because if I never hear the word vibes again, it'll just be too soon. I don't know how else to explain it, but that already, like, good vibes. Oh my god, you got bad vibes. You're giving me bad vibes. And they speak in like Twitter language. They had a lot of Twitter-esque conversations on there, like splitting bills, not so much the dreaded $200 date conversation, but they did talk about splitting bills And a lot of the guys were like, what? And the girls were like, yeah, I ain't fine, but I ain't just paying rent. And I'm like, oh, statistics say that everybody need to be splitting these bills. But that's neither here nor there. I think that since they marketed the show as like following the cast on their like journey to like, you know, doing their thing, you know, the ventures, the show says it's a venture of Black young adults in southern Los Angeles as they pursue their dreams. I think that we should have got more of that and a little less of the whole love square thing that happened. I do like that they had a lot of conversations about like accountability and what that looks like, and relationship stuff can stay, but I think they could have scaled it back a little bit and also kind of focused more on like the cast, because they kind of use the cast businesses as like a backdrop to host the drama, and I don't really care for that anymore. Like, I think I'm just kind of aged out. Like, I haven't really been watching a whole lot of reality TV for that very reason. But it just felt like a lot of the times like, oh yeah, we have an event going on, and then the event happens and then there's an argument. Oh yeah, there's a photo shoot. The photo shoot happens, there's an argument. We have a podcast going or filming. That happens and then there's an argument. Like, it's usually about somebody's relationship, and I'm just like, okay, I get it. But, you know, drama sells, so, you know, that's the thing or whatever. But what I do like about the show, I do love how the show is shot. Like, it's very beautiful. The lighting, of course, is amazing. Like, everybody looks so good. I also enjoyed the music in the show. One thing about Issa, she know how to put a soundtrack together, and like the music in the show did not disappoint. It felt very LA. Like, if I ever go to LA, I would imagine this is what it's like. And I invested in the story. Even though I talked a lot about like I wish the drama wasn't there. But I got invested. You know, the way the pacing of the show made it easy, especially when you watch, kind of binge it. Like, it's easy. It's an easy watch. It's definitely like a background. I'm cleaning the house. You know, like I need something to listen to. But once you kind of get invested in like the story, you're kind of like, all right, okay, I'm with it. You know what I mean? Like, but I am kind of hype. If there is a season 2, I'm probably gonna watch it. Like I said, I'm invested now, and I kind of want to see.
Okay, so it looks like that was the end of the video. I lost the other part, but hey, that was pretty much the end. But um like I said, I like the show. If there's a season 2, I will more than likely watch it. Like I said, I'm invested now. And yeah, so that's going to wrap it up. Be sure to like, share, subscribe if you enjoyed this content, and I will see you guys in the next one. Bye.